The PlayStation Portal. Is the Portal worth the money? Are the claims about performance on the internet actually true? Well, in today's video, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly regarding Sony's latest piece of gaming tech, the PlayStation Portal. First, let's talk about the overall form factor of the PlayStation Portal. Honestly, it is basically a giant DualSense Edge controller with a screen slapped in the middle of it. And you would think that that would be awkward, but it's actually super comfortable and feels really good in the hands. It also has a really nice weight to it. I mean, it feels like you're just holding a slightly heavier DualSense controller. If you have ever used a DualSense Edge controller, it feels just a slight bit more heavy than that, but overall it's nice. And it's got a really decent form factor for when you're playing. I don't really get any kind of hand fatigue or anything like that while I'm holding it, and it's just a nice experience overall in the hands. The build quality overall, it feels very premium. It doesn't feel like it's got some flimsy little screen or anything like that in it. It feels super solid, and the weight adds to that premium feel of it. It's not overbearing with the weight in the hands or anything like that, but overall it just feels like you're holding a premium piece of tech. And while it is a bit pricey, it is not as pricey as a lot of the handheld gaming PCs and stuff like that that are on the market. Obviously those are more expensive because they can do a lot more, but this feels just as premium as those, if not more. Now, the display on the Portal is not like it's some 4K, 8K, ultra fancy screen or anything like that, but at this size and this form factor, it is beyond what you could ever need, and the screen itself, it looks great. And honestly, it's very crystal clear, which is awesome. If it were a much larger screen or anything like that, obviously the resolution would have to be bumped up. But for what it is, it does its job fantastically and displays a very nice and crystal clear image. Now, as for speaker volume, this thing actually goes insanely loud. It is too loud, in my opinion, for what you need, like right in front of your face. But if you want something that's just gonna like drown out the audio around you, this will definitely do a very good job of doing that. I will say, if you get a little bit high in the volume, it starts to get a little tinny or a little gainy in some areas. But overall, the volume on this thing is fantastic. And overall, I really like the concept of what the PlayStation Portal is to be. It is a device for you to be able to play your games remotely. And it's a fantastic concept, but that leads us into the PlayStation Portal is a remote play only device. Now, it wasn't marketed as anything beyond that, but personally, I feel like that was a missed opportunity by Sony to be able to come out with, you know, the next PSP, the next PS Vita. And honestly, maybe this is them testing the waters for a future device that won't be just remote play, but will actually be a full functioning device where you can play games locally on the device. Another missed opportunity was the inclusion of Wi-Fi 5 instead of Wi-Fi 6 on the device. Now, I'm not sure why they decided they wanted to do that. I don't know if it was a cost-saving measure. I can't imagine it would have been that much more expensive to give this Wi-Fi 6 capability, which would improve on a lot of the things that people are saying online in terms of lag and performance. And speaking of lag and performance issues, it's time to talk about, unless you have been completely ignoring all of the news related to the PlayStation Portal, or you just plain didn't care to look at anything about it, there have been widespread performance issues, and people have been talking all over the internet about the issues that they have been having. Now, some people, they don't experience any issues at all. Many others, they experience a lot of issues, and unfortunately, I don't think that it is related to the device itself. I think it is more a product of the PlayStation Remote Play service as a whole. Now, the minimum specs for the PlayStation Portal say that you need at least 5 megabits down for your internet, but they recommend for better quality play to have at least 15 megabytes down. Now, I don't personally know anyone that can get an internet that slow. I know there are definitely parts of the country and parts of the world where internet is that slow, if not slower, or is just non-existent. But for me, I vastly exceed that. I have 1400 megs down, and I still have numerous issues. Now, those issues are not only because of download speed. Download speed, yes, that helps with your data transfer, things like that, and helps overall you're able to do. The issues with bandwidth and what your home network can handle. Now, I am running an AC mesh network for my internet setup here. If you don't know what that means, go ahead and Google it. I'm not going to get into it. But with my internet setup, there is absolutely no reason why I should have any performance issues of any kind. My internet is well beyond the specs, like exponentially to many powers beyond the specs that are required for this device to run smoothly. And my home network is beyond what is needed. I even have this connected to the 5 gigahertz spectrum to help with traffic and help alleviate bandwidth issues. And I even have my QoS, my quality of service, turned on to specifically allow this device to get priority over all traffic on my network, and I am still having issues. Now, I will say there are times where there's less congestion on my network, like my kids aren't streaming things, my wife, my mother-in-law, people aren't streaming things in the house. That definitely helps, but there are still lag issues. And whether I am playing an indie game, something like Carl, or if I'm playing a major release on the PS5, like Spider-Man 2, the issues are the same. Honestly, I would actually argue that on the indie game, it was even worse, which is kind of weird because there wasn't anywhere near as much going on with the game. Now, another issue that I have experienced is in battery life. Now, it's not like Sony said that this is going to be a game all day kind of device. I'm not expecting that. But if I want to sit down for several hours and have a long game session playing something, I can't really do that because it's drawing too much off of the battery. Now, a regular DualSense controller has just over 1,000 milliamp hour battery, but those will last you, I want to say, probably around 3 or 4 hours before they really need a charge, or if you're using every single feature that is on one of those controllers. This has a 4,370 milliamp hour battery, but in addition to the controller and all the features that a DualSense controller has, it's also powering the screen. And in my opinion, I feel like they could have added bigger. They could have added maybe an 8,000 milliamp hour battery. I mean, it's Sony. They could figure out how to add a bigger battery into something like this. And then you could get something like 6 to 8 hours of gameplay out of it. And that's well beyond what the average person would ever need. But I've experienced issues where I'm playing, I'm starting to really get into it, and then it starts flashing that it needs to be charged. And it takes you out of the immersion, and it takes away from the experience, in my opinion. Now, originally, after my first few days with the Portal, I was fed up with the issues, and I was just going to flat out return it. But they have released 2 updates since the launch of the device, and it gives me hope that Sony is moving in the right direction with the Portal. Now, again, I don't think the device is the issue. I think that they should have added Wi-Fi 6. That would have helped with a lot of issues as far as connection and performance, but I don't think the device is the problem. I think the problem is with their underlying architecture for the PlayStation Remote Play. Remote Play has been around for many, many years at this point. It started with the PS3, and then there was the Vita being able to do Remote Play, and then it went into the PS4, PS4 Pro, all of that. And honestly, it worked a lot better with those systems. But now that we are into more graphically intense and storage and performance intense games, it's not the same kind of thing anymore. They need to evolve the architecture to comply with everything that is happening with modern day gaming. Now, I mentioned that they have had a couple of updates since launch. After the first update, which stated there was going to be a lot of stability improvements, I didn't notice any difference at all. It still played exactly the same. I was still having the exact same lag issues, and it was really unfortunate, and it was kind of solidifying like, okay, I just need to return this thing and get my money back. But I wanted to give it a chance because I figured that Sony has got to be putting more into this. I mean, they've marketed the hell out of this thing, and they need to really emphasize what it can and can't do a little more properly in their marketing. But overall, I think that they are going to continue to support this, and they are going to, there is hope for it to become a much better device and what they said it would be on launch. That being said, as of filming today, there was another update. Again, touting stability and performance improvements. And while I am still getting a few drop frames here and there, I will say this new update, wow, the stability has improved exponentially. It is so much better, and it took it from being basically unplayable for me at times to now it's just like, I lose some frames, that's kind of annoying, but I can expect that with a remote device like this. And it's gone from being kind of a deal breaker for me to like, okay, well, what are future updates going to do, and how are they going to improve this device even further? So like I said, I really like the form factor. I really like the quality of the screen, honestly. The audio is great in my opinion. The lag has been an issue. The performance has been an issue. But again, I think that is a performance of the service, not of the device itself. And updates are seemingly going in the right direction to alleviate those issues. Now, I can honestly say, even though it is getting better, I cannot recommend this device for people to go out and get. Not yet anyways. At the rate that they're updating, I would say probably give it another 3 months or so. Somewhere around Q2 of 2024, I bet with updates and continued performance upgrades that this will actually be a device that does exactly what they said it would do at launch, and it'll be something that does it for everyone as long as they are meeting the minimum requirements that Sony has set. But for right now, I simply cannot recommend people go out and buy this in its current state, especially how it was at launch in that state. But it is getting better, and I'm excited to see how the portal will operate and behave coming here in the next few months. Now, if y'all like this video, then please let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. And if you want to see more videos like this one, then go ahead and click on the video right here. And as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.